Hello, and welcome to episode number 13 of season 3 of Empowered Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Michael Abney, and I'm joined today with
Marilyn Egan. And I'm so happy to be here again. I can't believe it's 13.
I know.
Oh, what a great number, Beth.
It's my lucky number.
We have a fabulous guest today who's been a friend of mine for a very long time. I'm going to let her tell you about herself and what she does and what she has to offer. Beth Koritz, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. That was such a wide open general introduction. I could go anywhere with that.
Yes,
That's
you
the
can.
point.
That's the point.
But I think I'm going to start late in life when I figured out who I authentically really was, who the real me was, and I stopped living my life according to societal expectations or familial expectations and did what I knew was right for me. Probably for the first time, and took my life down that path. And that path got me my master's in counseling at the age of 50, and I went straight into private practice. And I just this past May published a book using all of my life stories, which are, as you know,
Oh, amazing and wild.
and a little insane
Yeah.
for them to all happen to one person. And I took all those stories and I combined them with the philosophies and strategies I use in my counseling practice with my clients to help them become their best authentic self and put it into a memoir / self-help book.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yes. And I am so excited to hear more about that. And I'm really excited for people to hear more about your stories. So I witnessed part of that time with you as you were going to counseling school and moving into that space of authenticity.
You did.
Yes, I did. But I was doing the same thing as you were too. So it's been a fabulous journey. So would you like to tell us a little bit more about how you realized
that's
what
I
was
wanted to.
going on, that you were not being authentic?
Well, about 22 years ago, I came down with a disease called Guillain-Barré. And have you ever heard of it, Michael?
I have not heard of that one.
It's rare. 4,000 people a year get it in the
Yes.
United States. It's very rare. And it destroys the myelin sheath around your nerves. And as the sheath is destroyed, whatever muscles those nerves control become paralyzed. So I was paralyzed from the shoulders down, and I was on life support for a couple of weeks. And as you know, you can't talk when there's a tube down your throat, and they have no TVs in the ICU, so you're really just left in your head, which not always the best place to be when you're kind of fighting for your life and afraid, but it gave me the opportunity to really take a hard, honest look at my life. And I was also on life support, so I'm now getting the wow, every day really does count, and life really is short, because even though they tell me this won't kill me, I'm not sure I believe them. So I realized that the life I was living just was not what I wanted. And the first words I spoke after they extubated me to my husband at the time were, things have to change.
Wow.
And
Okay,
then
well-
I got busy.
Wow.
Yes.
So was it like a light switch that just went off? Like one day you had it, one day you didn't? Or was it like...
Yeah.
it
Almost,
was?
yeah. So on I remember this so clearly. On a Friday, I took my, he's my ex-husband now, to
That was one of the things that had to change?
that was one of the things. I took him to the hospital for a upper GI. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the lobby, like thinking I'm going to people watch, and I go to needlepoint, and my hand won't do what my brain is telling it to do, and I don't know why, and it's scary, and it's just like your limb is not your own; somebody else is controlling it, and you don't know where it's coming from.
And when I worked in physical therapy, I did neuro. We did have people who had Guillain-Barré, and it starts in the limbs and moves here. So you were in a very advanced stage
No,
for it to be in
starts
your
in the
lungs.
well,
in the extremities.
yeah, I mean, it got there. So what
And it
happened
moves
was
here.
eventually
Last.
it got there. So he, that day was about him because of his test. But I did call my doctor, who called me back. Did I mention this was the Friday of Memorial Day weekend? She calls me back at 4:00, and I tell her what's going on, and she says, be in my office when I open Tuesday morning, but if you get worse, go to the hospital. I said, if it wasn't 4:00 on the Friday of a holiday weekend, I wouldn't be bothering you. And she said, if it wasn't 4:00 on the Friday of a holiday weekend, I'd tell you to come down here right now. So it got worse throughout the evening. Like, this whole story is in my book in detail, but it got worse throughout the evening. I called my mom that night and said, I might need you to take me to the hospital in the morning, just giving you a heads up. And the next morning, I woke up, and it was the first Saturday ever that my husband was home. We owned a restaurant at the time, so he worked on Saturdays. He took the Saturday off, first time ever. And I yelled to him, I'm like, I want to get out of bed, but come stand here just in case. And I went to get out of bed, and I just collapsed, and he caught me before I hit the floor. And we called my mom, and she came and picked me up and took me to the hospital because I didn't want my daughters to see me leave in an ambulance. And that was Saturday. And lots of stuff went on that day. And the next day, my kids came to say goodbye because the next day I was going into the ICU, and they knew I'd be on life support.
And they were not very old at that point, were they?
Kira had just turned 4 2 weeks before.
Wow.
And Cadence was 7. They were young.
Yeah.
And I can see how it has affected Cadence, who right now is also in school getting her master's in counseling, mental health counseling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this is part of her journey, too.
Yeah, definitely.
And
She was
to
old
where
enough.
yeah.
Kira says she doesn't remember very much, but
Yeah.
I think the books reminded her.
Yeah.
So how did you transition out of that?
So I had to relearn everything. I was in physical therapy and occupational therapy for over a year because every muscle's atrophied by the time. I mean, I could only move one joint of my thumb 3 weeks later. That, so I had to wait for everything to come back. But then every muscle had to relearn its use, like being a newborn baby. So I was in PT and OT 3 times a week for over a year.
And we did that with a lot of people. And you are a miracle because a lot of people didn't get out of their walkers or braces. And here you are.
I worked
totally
so
healed.
hard
Yeah.
at it, though. I mean, the doctor would come in and I'd say, what do I have to do to discontinue? I had 78 heparin shots in my belly because I was getting 2 a day. And so my belly was just huge and black and blue, and it hurt. And she said, you have to walk 100 yards twice a day to get off the blood thinners. And I go to physical therapy that day. They wheel me down, and I'm like, this is what we're doing today. And we did it.
And you did the other work. Can you tell us a little bit about the decisions you made that helped clear your body so you could move forward? Like you said, things have to change. You were in your head and things had to change. What other kind of changes?
Well, I came
did you
out of
make in
this
your
experience. My number one goal was to provide memories for my kids, because suddenly you realize, it's true, today could be your last day. Any day,
Yes.
We don't think about it until we're in that position. So I came out of it saying, if I am not going to live till I'm 90, I want my kids to be left with lots of great memories. Yes. So I started, as soon as I was physically able to, I started really working on that,
Yes.
And we sold the restaurant. That wasn't the life I wanted, so we started our plan for a different life. But I've had many plans in the last 20-something years. Lots. My book is called Resilience Road, and there's a curvy road on the cover because it is not a straight path. And even once you think you know who you are and what you want, there are a lot of dead ends and left turns. And I had a lot of dead ends and with a lot more physical challenges after that too. So
yeah.
How long had you been married to this point?
9 years.
9 years. Was this your first husband? Mm-hmm. So it was 9 years with your husband before this disease came in?
Eight-ish, because Katie was 7, so it was a little over 8 years.
And you had the restaurant the whole time?
No, we had the restaurant for about 5 years.
But you said you knew that wasn't your path.
Right, because what happened was, we all romanticize our plans, right? So when we met, the first night he and I met, we talked about owning a restaurant, and
Bought into him.
he'd run the back and I'd run the front, and the kids could be like running around in the restaurant, and we had this very romanticized idea of what it was going to be like. And what it was really like was him working 7 days a week, and it was a Jewish deli. So the Jewish holidays, he was working around the clock, and he wasn't with us as a family. So it didn't prioritize what I thought should be priorities as our kids were younger. I wanted him around. I wanted more family.
Yeah.
When our kids were younger.
Mm-hmm.
Were you ever able to communicate that as you went through, or did it just sort of build up? Your desire, you're clear on it now from this viewpoint.
I was clear on it when they extubated me.
Yes.
That was very clear to me. That's what became very clear on life support. Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking, is that you made that decision that you were going to get to where you wanted to be in life. It didn't matter that it took more years and other journeys, but you had made that decision
Right.
when you were there.
Right.
Because you did recover fully from that.
I did.
And that's huge.
I did. It took a long time, but I did.
Yes.
How long?
A year and a half.
A year and a half of recovering from this thing that only happens to 4,000 people in the United States a year, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I was dealing with a lot of healthcare workers that had never treated somebody with this disease. So because I was paralyzed, I tell this story in my book where one nurse tech, I don't know the proper title, came in to dress me in the morning, and she just was flopping my body around and treating me like a piece of meat. Because I think they figure if you're paralyzed, you can't feel. But I could feel everything. I just couldn't use my muscles, but I could feel everything. So because it's so rare, there's so few nurses that have dealt with it, they, Oh, and here, this is a good story. So when they're about to intubate me, they're showing me a letter chart, and they say, since you can't talk, if you have something to say, we'll move our finger along the letter chart, and when you blink, we'll know that letter, and you can spell out your words. Okay, so now I'm intubated, and I want to say something, and I realize they never gave me a cue to tell them I want the letter chart. So there were times that I would be like, with this tube down my throat, but they didn't know to pick up the letter chart so I could spell something. So I have since told ICU nurses, you can't leave that part out. That's an important instruction.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes me feel really restricted. When I think about how that had to feel, you totally felt trapped in your body,
And no way to communicate.
No way to say anything at all. Well, you changed that. You've been communicating
Say
great
that
ever since.
Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
She felt trapped and not able to move, communicate, move forward, do anything.
Well, were you going to say something?
Well, just energetically, I kind of feel like that's how the inside of your body felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before that thing happened.
Maybe because it wasn't my first serious disease, so maybe. But the interesting thing to bring it all back around is what I do in my practice.
Yes.
And the main message in my book when it comes to being authentic. Most people, when I say I'm going to help you become your best authentic self, they will say, I don't even know who that is. So we're really starting with people who don't know who their authentic self is. So you have to really, again, you have to kind of start from scratch with what are your passions? What is your personality? What are your qualities? But what is your inner voice saying also? Do you ever hear your inner voice? So much of the work I do with people is getting them to feel empowered to use their inner voice. Because how many people do you meet a day that do that?
Right.
Yeah, us
we
three.
do.
But outside of this room, how many people a day, right? That's
Right. They don't even know what that
They
means.
don't even
Right.
know what that means.
right.
Yeah.
And there's like when you say inner voice, there is that, but there's also, the little negative talker in the head.
Yeah.
I think people know that they have that,
the chatter.
but they don't know that there's distinctions of communications from energy outside of the physical realm. I'll just say that happen that would be, they have no clue or be able to even process if it did happen to them. Like what you said when you came out of the intubation, you were so clear you knew life had to change.
Right. Well, so think of how scary it is for some people. They can't allow themselves to hear their inner voice because if they do, it could turn their whole life upside down.
Yay.
Yes.
And that's scary.
But yay.
Yeah, of course, but yay. But that's a big fear that people have to be able to live with.
Right.
How do you help people through that?
Slowly.
You do it slowly?
Yeah, everything doesn't have to happen at once. You know,
Exactly.
if you are suddenly like, I'm unhappy in my marriage, I don't like my job, nothing I'm doing is authentic. We don't have to like throw everything away on day one and start from scratch.
Yeah.
It's a process.
I mean, I know there's a million ways to Mecca, but like
I like that phrase.
well, that's a whole point of what we do here is
Yeah.
all about just living life consciously, whatever umbrella or whatever that's inside of that is inside of that. So it just creates a platform so that we can talk about things that people don't normally talk about. And, like I'm at a point in my life where I don't coach people that much anymore. If they're friends of mine, they know my personality and I'm just like, get over it. It's not real. But like where you're coming from a place, people coming to you that have the courage to come and talk to somebody about something that for them at that point, there's no way that you could do that.
Right.
Get over yourself. Like
Right.
it's just an illusion.
No.
But like, so I think that's a powerful gift
Yes.
to the world to take somebody at the darkest point of their life, potentially, or, when you're in fear, you're just paralyzed anyway. Right?
Yeah. And so, in a way, I'm lucky that I've had, all of these
Diseases.
tragedies,
Experiences.
because
That's-
I use them. I use
That's
them.
the truth.
And I use, my education and
Yeah.
counseling and all the other, post-grad certs I've gotten so that I am not just coming from learn from me and my experiences, but I'm coming from a educated mental health background also. And I think that's important.
That's hugely important that you weave it all together.
Right.
That's the beauty of it because you know how they feel. They feel as paralyzed and stuck and frozen inside as you felt physically
Right.
in the hospital that day.
Right.
So you know that it's not going to be overnight. And you
Right. Well, yes. And yesterday I did an interview for the book, and one of the questions was like, what is your favorite self-care? What do you think the most important self-care thing is? And I think they expected me to say like, take a bath, light some candles, journal, like some magic little trick. And my answer was slow down.
Yes.
That is really the most important self-care. Slow everything down. Everything. Because you enjoy life more and you're more present.
Yes.
But that's where you have the space for your inner voice to be heard also.
yeah.
We cover that inner voice up by busyness.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Some people keep going and stay busy, and they
on purpose.
right to avoid being with themselves.
Right, to
being
avoid
with
their
that inner
feelings.
voice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you open up that door to give them the opportunity to hear that inner voice.
And honor it, because
And-
hearing it doesn't make any difference if you don't honor it
Right?
and take some action. Right?
How do you help people distinguish between their true inner voice and the mind chatter?
One of the things I ask all my clients to do is to write a list of their qualities. And I love it. A lot of them will say, like, the bad ones too. I'm like, sure. If you have things like that, write them down too. But inside my head, I'm thinking, aren't qualities just good? Like, the very definition of quality is that it's something good, right?
Yeah.
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 But clearly, they've got some things that they don't like about themselves that they want to get out. So I want to know what they are, you know? So then they'll come back in, and this is about helping them define who they are as a human being so that they can say, if you say, who are you? My answer is not, well, I'm a mom, I'm a therapist, I'm a kind, loving, loyal, funny, compassionate, hardworking person. And the list can keep going, right? I want them to define who they are as a human,
not their role.
not their role in life. So finding your authentic self is figuring out who you are as a human and how many of those negative words that you thought to write down really belong on the positive side, especially for women, because women have been told you're bossy, not you're a strong leader.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of them we redefine. So it's about them figuring out who they are as a human being and what their passions are as a human, not as a wife and a mom or a dad and an employee, right? And then what do they want to do with their life that will bring them joy?
Did you ask yourself those questions?
Throughout the process, not right then, but yeah, I think I did throughout all the left turns and dead ends. I actually went to a great seminar that helped me out, like was an epiphany type of thing for me.
What was it?
It was, her name was Marsha. I can't remember her last name. I know I was a guest of somebody from our mastermind group, one of those, if you sign up, you can take a guest for
Yes.
free.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know what I was going to. I truly didn't. She said it was a dream seminar, and I didn't know if it was the dreams we have when we sleep, our dreams for our life. I walked in like I was at a point in my life where I was open to everything and saying yes to everything. But I literally walked in the room not knowing what it was about. And out of 200 people, I saw about 10 people that I knew from like the energy mastermind type world. I'm like, okay, I've landed with my people. And this woman runs Dream University is what, do you know what I'm talking about? She'd been on Oprah. And so anyway,
Yeah,
she would pair us with strangers,
Yeah.
which was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because when she would ask a hard question, you could go anywhere because you were with a stranger. So you really didn't care like what they thought of you, you know, and your answer. So you could be so honest. And I had like the epiphany with the tears streaming down my cheeks type thing there, and went home and applied for grad school within the next 24 hours. So,
That's amazing.
yeah.
That's amazing. Was that that was after we met?
Yes.
After we went through this other program?
Yeah, because it was somebody from the program that took me.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
But I had a list of all my fears there. I mean, I really did. You know, you're too old. What will people think? What if you're not good at it? You can't afford it. You know, what if you don't like it? And I was 48. So to make a big change at that age, so I had to really list my fears and have an answer for every single one of them to conquer it and go back to school and do it.
And you did it.
And I did it.
It's amazing.
And now you're helping other people do the same thing.
Right. Because it took me 48 years to get on my real path, but I'm I'm on it, and
Yes.
I know it's my right path, and that I will be on it for the rest of my life now. But it took me
Yeah.
a long time.
The years were not finite like you thought they were when you started that journey.
Right. Well, and the
thought,
other
"Oh,
lesson to teach people is that elimination is a big part of the journey, right? So if you do something and you don't like it, it's not for you, you're not good at it, it's not fun, there's no money, and you mark it off your list, it's not a failure.
No.
It's okay, we've marked one thing off the list. There's an infinite amount of things we can do. So elimination's part of the process. People see it as failure, and they don't see it as a good part of the process. That is one less thing for me to consider now. I am like honing in on the right answer.
That's a fabulous approach.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, like now, where you're at finding your passion, and it was all stemmed from the illness, right? Or series of it.
The
You said there was more,
authenticity
right?
part, there is a lot more.
Yeah.
It was lupus, right?
I've had a different form of that. I've had sarcoidosis that had me on mega steroids for 18 months. I've had breast cancer. I broke my back. I've gone through bankruptcy. I have one thing now that is questionable that I'm dealing with. So it's a never-ending hit parade of challenges. But, they're all defining.
Diamond polishers.
Yeah, exactly. They're all defining.
All
Exactly.
defining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why the book is called Resilience Road, because, you have to be resilient to make it through life in a positive, happy way. Look, I could have, over 25 years ago, with what I'd gone through, even back then, become bitter and angry and a victim. And some people do. It's easier to do
Right.
those, to go that direction. But you're miserable, So it's harder to always try and be positive or find the lesson in it, or say, I'm ready, I'm in fight mode, I've tackled everything else, I'll tackle this one too. It's harder, but I get to enjoy life while I'm doing it. Life's grand, even though can I say shit? Even though this shit is, put in your path.
Yeah, shit happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are happy. You are happy in life.
Oh, yeah. So happy.
And because you are authentic and you just take one step at a time and
Because I'm living my life the way I want it.
Yes.
If I don't want to do something, I say no. And I say it in a nice way, so that I tell my clients at the end of every day, you just want to look in the mirror and say, I was my best self today. If you had to say something that was painful, that hurt somebody's feelings, did you say it the most compassionate way you could? Okay, then you were your best person that day.
And you can't.
Yes.
You can do that.
Right.
you can.
You can say truthful things in a compassionate way.
Right.
If you're conscious.
Right.
But if we don't want to look at that in our own life, it'll come out sideways and not be effective.
Exactly.
But I believe I'm with you 100% on that you can say whatever it is that you need to say to whoever you need to say it to
Yeah.
Yes.
in a compassionate way and not skirt the truth of it.
Right.
And that's a big
For yourself.
principle in all the work we all do.
Right.
Shamanism, Reiki, all of that is speaking
Ruthless compassion.
Yeah, speaking the truth with beauty.
And then what that receiver of the truth does with that, that's 100% on them.
Their choice.
Right.
But they have a choice
Right.
of how they handle it.
Right.
Yeah.
I preach that we're 100% responsible for everything we think, we say, and we do. Our thoughts, our actions, and our emotions, which means there's no room left to be responsible for anybody else's.
That's true too. Yes.
Right.
Not putting our stuff on anyone or letting them put their stuff on us.
Right.
So if somebody's facing an illness or a this or a that or something that they perceive, that from where we sit, we can see that that's the thing that's going to evolve them into whatever their life's passion is, right? Do you follow? Like life goes along, but they haven't had that aha or they haven't had that trip to the ER yet. Mm-hmm. But they maybe sense something's coming. Because I was diagnosed with lupus several years ago, so I it was a wake-up call. Like I believe all illnesses are wake-up calls, spiritual wake-up calls to like fully integrate into our bodies and be who we were supposed to be, not just the shell of it walking around trying to survive the life, you know, and shift us into the thriving of life. So for people that may be out there listening, that this is where they're at, or they sense, because didn't you sense before that happened to you that something was awry or something was amiss?
I knew that I was trying hard to fit in to situations in an authentic way.
But yet you couldn't do anything to stop it, right?
But I did it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have done something to stop it, but I did it
So
anyway.
somebody listening that's in that can hear themselves in your story and in all of our stories, what is the thing? Because I also believe that it's possible that we don't have to have the illnesses to have the breakthrough. Right. I believe that we live in a world now that the energy of the planet and the frequency of the planet, we don't need to suffer anymore to get our ahas. Like, does that resonate with you?
It does.
Like,
I mean, I say every time I've gotten knocked down, it's been because my life needed course correction. Every time. It's because I needed a course correction. So, and I agree with you. It would be nice if I could have had the aha without getting actually knocked down. For me, it didn't work that way.
Well, you have the key. That's
right.
my question. What would you tell yourself after that happened, before that happened, to not do or do?
To be more in touch with your inner voice and what you know that you're pushing down and that you're afraid to hear and you're afraid to say.
What could they literally do? Because that's one thing to say that, but what's the thing that they can like literally do to bring that out?
For me, it's about getting very quiet. It's just, when people say, how did you finally figure out to go back to school and change from applying for jobs, because I had to feed my kids, to going back to school. And I got really quiet for I want to say a few weeks, a month, where I wasn't going all the time. And it was also around the time of my bankruptcy, so I couldn't really afford to do anything. And I was in myself. I'm not a big meditator, but I'd walk, which is a meditation,
Total meditation.
A form of meditation. And I'd get clarity. I just got quiet so I could get clarity, So now as a professional, I say, go talk to a professional. Also, they will help you get clarity. I could have done this maybe a little easier if I had been talking to somebody professionally that got me, but I wasn't at the time. So for me, it's just all about clarity of what's going on in your own heart and head and soul at the time.
Yeah.
And if somebody is going through that, more than likely there's financial stuff that goes right along with it too, because they're kind of connected energetically inside. So if you're in that turmoil, it's going to be financial turmoil too. So like what you said about the nature is free, and I use that too, like walking in the park or connecting with nature, even if it's a house plant in your house, like just some connection to nature provided that space for me to sort of like the crack. It caused the crack to a little bit of light could get in and do the rest of the work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
What were you going to say, Marilyn?
Well, I think I've lost my train of thought. Except that now you can help people get inside and hear their inner voice, so they might not have to crash and go through what you did to get to that space.
And that's why I wrote the book. Really,
yes,
that's why.
Exactly.
People had been telling me for a lot of years, oh my gosh, Beth, all your stories, you should write a book, you should write a book. And I was like, why is anybody going to want to read my book? I'm not famous. I didn't climb Kilimanjaro. Why my book? But then once I became a therapist and I had years of therapeutic experience under me, and I had developed these philosophies like the 100% and these different skill sets. And I thought, now if I take what I use with my clients and I combine it with my stories, now this book can actually help people and not just be somebody else's memoir. And I hear I'm sorry.
And they feel inspired.
Yes.
When they're down and they're reading this, they feel hope. They feel inspired to move forward and to get out of the space that they're feeling. So I'm just going to encourage everyone to find your book. Can you tell us how to connect to that?
Well, first, we've never said the name. It's Resilience Road, Exploring Your Authentic Life Path. And it's on Amazon. I just finished recording the Audible, which hopefully will be live around Thanksgiving. Hopefully.
That's when this podcast will be.
perfect.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll be available right around the same time. But what I hear the most from people who read my book and reviewers is that even though their stories are different, they see themselves in my book.
Exactly.
I hear it all the time. They see themselves in my stories.
Yes.
So they can take away something concrete from the book to help them. And then next is a coaching program based on the book.
I love it.
Yay, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This
That
was
went
such
really
an-
fast.
Yes,
I
it
told
did.
you, right? We just sit here and talk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
This was awesome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you for
I
being
just want to
here.
say too that we will. I'll put this. I'll put the link in the description below
Wonderful.
this podcast, so it goes out on all the platforms.
Thank you.
And just really acknowledge you for sharing this with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I know it is going to help a lot of people.
I hope so. I mean, all my secrets are in that book.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
So I hope
excited.
they help. I hope they help a lot of people.
I'm excited to listen to your voice tell your stories. So,
Thank you.
Awesome.
yay.
I'm excited
We'll
to get
put it all
out.
together and put it out. It'll be at this will come out on the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Okay. Great.
Yay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
Everybody have a great day. Thank you for listening. Hope you got something wonderful out of today. I know that I did. And thank you, Ken, for being here. Look forward to listening to your
Yes.
audiobook. Have a
Thank
great day.
you. Bye.